We all know the sound when a trophy or an achievement pops on your screen, the feeling of joy when you beat a game on the hardest difficulty, doing something outside of the box for the first time and being rewarded for it, being a speedrunner in some cases, or after multiple tries you beat a boss without taking any damage and the feeling of relief that comes with that notification. And of course, there are trophies that drive you up a wall and are completely ridiculous. I'm looking at you, Nier Automata. But over the course of being at home, I found more time to complete these challenges. Upon completing Mafia the Definitive Edition, which is an outstanding game with a remarkable story and characters, I wanted to reflect on the 23 games that I went through. I know 23 ain't much to write home about when I look at players who've been doing this for a long time, but from the great times to being burned out, I wanted to share with you guys what made me start this platinum journey in the first place.
Into the police security mainframe and discovered this vault's combo. Try dialing in 937. Nice job! You got it!
I can remember playing the Sly Cooper games on the PS2, which is one of my most beloved game series alongside Kingdom Hearts and many others. I always felt the joy of going through the levels and finding the vaults, buying all the skills off the Thief Net. It was really enjoyable for me, and I wanted to make sure every bit of what that game had to offer was complete. So fast forward to 2020, when I started focusing on hunting for platinums more frequently, the philosophy remained the same. I want to get the most out of the games that I play. Having the trophies there as a way to track your progress and get a reward for it was just an added bonus for me. I love the feeling of accomplishment that comes when the platinum shows up on my screen. It's like a little dopamine rush for me. It just made me want to do it more, or at least attempt more, because not every game that I beat has a platinum attached to it. The challenges that some of these trophies presented to me are genuinely tough and required me to develop my skills and to get good to unlock them. I welcome those challenges, it spices things up for me. I may not be competing with others directly, but I'll be competing against myself to not get discouraged when I fail these challenges, but to keep working and get better. For example, beating FF7 Remake on hard mode. It wasn't so hard that I was pulling out my hair and having difficulties beating the game, but a lot of the fights in the game you had to approach with different strategies than you would on normal, and developing those strategies and finding a way to beat those bosses was the fun part of the mode for me. Managing my MP properly and having typical item usage banned in the mode. It made for a tricky playthrough, but I liked it a lot. It was fun, and I'd say it's probably the best way to play FF7 Remake, to play it on hard, because you get a different experience, but it's a fun experience. And at the end of the day, if I had to sum all this up into one word as to why I started to do this, it's because it's fun for me. And I don't think that will change.
Dun, 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 dun.
Now luckily for me, majority of the time I wasn't grinding for trophies in the dark. Thanks to YouTube, forums, and message boards, there's a wealth of info and guides out there to help me along the way, and if there ever was a time I got stuck on something, I could always look it up and find the solution. In the case of Nier Automata, which is a game I love to death, but has some of the most annoying trophies I've ever encountered in a game, so annoying to the fact that the devs added a way to buy the trophies that were causing people a lot of troubles. It got that difficult for everybody, but besides the extra endings, one for every letter of the alphabet, and collecting all the weapons in the game, there was a way you could fight the lovable Emil and get the Naughty Children trophy. But to do so isn't so straightforward, so having a guide walk me through of what I needed to do and the steps I needed to take saved me a lot of time. There were, however, a few occasions where I would run into a brick wall and would render hunting for that platinum useless. Like Code Vein, the anime waifu Souls-like game from Bandai Namco. I thought I wasn't going to enjoy it, but overall I really enjoyed my time spent with the game. But there's a specific trophy named Exalted Reputation, which isn't impossible to get, but you need 400 medals to get your rep to 30. Doing this with a co-op partner brings the grind down a bit, but doing it solo was a pain in the ass and I lost the patience for it. And since the game came out in 2019, there's hardly anyone playing on console to help. So out of not ruining the good impression I have of the game, I dropped hunting for that platinum. An example of trophy sets that was really fun from top to bottom for me was Ghost of Tsushima and Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn being one of my favorite games of all time. And now you may say those trophy sets aren't really the hardest in the world, they're pretty easy to get. But to me, I could get those trophies naturally. I loved being in the worlds of these games, so the usual scavenger hunt for collectibles and defeating enemies in certain ways never felt like a slog to me and never got old for me. I can naturally go throughout the worlds of Tsushima and Zero Dawn and just explore and find these trophies as naturally as it could be. The only thing I would need help with in Zero Dawn would be to find the super armor for Aloy, which I kind of forgot was in the game until I came back and realized there's an extra armor set I needed to get. But other than that, the rest of the trophies, I just explored the world as if I would normally and found all these extra items and collectibles. Not saying a world needs to be super captivating or unique in order for me to do something like this, but it helps. It makes it more enjoyable. So throughout all 23 games, I'd say my experience overall was really enjoyable. Each game had their own challenges and difficulties to overcome, whether it be the super open world game or the linear one. In spite of all of that though, with all the fun I was having on this journey, it led me to a place I'd never thought I'd get to, which was feeling burnt out. The burnout came shortly after I finished Arkham Asylum, which is no fault of Arkham. I love playing through that game again, it's a real classic. But after I beat it, I just lost the motivation to go back and beat the game on hard or do the Predator challenges. Now there are a lot of factors that played into this and built over time. From the constant grinding, it felt like this was the only thing I was doing gaming related, which did get tedious at times. Scavenger hunts quickly became my least favorite type of trophy to get. In Mafia, if I didn't have a guide for finding all the comics and foxes, I'd lose my damn mind. You can knock out the majority of those collectibles in a few hours, so it's not too bad, but not really the most exciting thing either. The big one, however, was the moment I realized I was playing games to get the platinum and increase my player score instead of enjoying the games first. It developed some real bad habits for me, like browsing through a trophy list to see whether or not it was an easy platinum to get, and if the list looked hard or time consuming, I would be reluctant to play it, outright spoiling the game sometimes for me by revealing the hidden trophies when I really shouldn't be. I was approaching new games with the mindset of trying to maximize the amount of trophies I could get in my initial playthrough, which got in the way of me enjoying these games as is and coming across these trophies and events naturally. So for a while there, I stopped focusing so much on hunting for platinums and took a break from it, which was drastically needed because now I can pace myself better and absorb these games as much as I can while getting the trophies naturally. When I beat the game, then I can go back and decide whether or not I will plot out the rest of my path and get the rest of the trophies and complete the game. I needed to realize and get it through my head that I wasn't just playing these games to get the platinum and to get the trophies in them. I was playing them more to experience what they had to offer. When it comes to trophies and achievements, there's two sides to this. Some may feel they serve no real purpose and filling up that achievement level has no meaning at all. Then there's the completionist who gets a sense of pride and accomplishment the more platinums they get in seeing those levels rise to ridiculous numbers. It seems like there's no in between. But to me, I think trophies are for everyone. Even for the most casual gamer, I genuinely believe there will be a game someone comes across one day, they absolutely fall in love with it, and will want to 100% that game. Which is what the intent of trophies are for, in my opinion. To give that player the feeling of pride and accomplishment I keep bringing up. They're optional, yes, but if you decide to go for it, your efforts won't be for nothing. And there were a lot of times I'd go through the comments on the guide videos and the sentiments would always be the same. People would be thanking the channels, saying they never really would go for platinums, but they needed help with a few to get it. But when they did get it, they were proud of what they accomplished, which was cool to see. And I gotta give props to the guide channels like PS5 Trophies and PowerPix and the community as a whole. They were extremely kind and willing to help anyone with any questions and such. The dedication of that community is insane. Nothing but respect for them. Now, will I continue to platinum hunt? Of course, I still love working towards them after the burnout I had. Will I go as hard as I did in the beginning? No, I don't think I'll ever go to that extent ever again. It's more important to me that I have fun with these games before I turn it into a grind. I hope that came across well. I didn't think I'd be making a video like this way back in 2020 when I did start hunting for platinums. Had I known I was going to be doing that, I would have documented more about the process and what I was going through at that time, but now I'm just basing everything off of memory and looking back at these trophies and the screenshots that the trophies have. Like, I'm looking at the Pride and Joy trophy for FF7, and you can see Aerith is the only person standing, and she's the only one that carried that fight for us when Cloud and Tifa died, so that's how this whole thing spurred up. I was just really going back down memory lane and just experiencing all of this. So if you're a dedicated trophy hunter and enjoy the challenge in it, I'm sure you'll keep on going and get as much platinums as you possibly can. To someone who isn't as serious when it comes to trophy hunting, I'm sure they'll be just as proud to have that one platinum on their profile more than anything. So I like to know what you guys think about platinum hunting though. Is it a waste of time, or is it an actual good way to challenge yourself when it comes to a game? Let me know down in the comments below. If you got this far, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on this. I truly appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video.